Okay, so we're coming to the mat. And we're gonna start seated with legs nice and straight so we can work our roll-ups. Now remember to modify, if you can't do the straight legs right off the bat, is you can go one knee or both knee bent, feet flat as a way to modify. You could also grab like a lightweight dumbbell or kettlebell to have out in front of you to help with those roll-ups as a little counterweight to help pull you up into position. So we're gonna sit up nice and tall, nice and long up out of our sit bones, whether your legs are straight or bent. Arms are gonna come to the front and we're gonna tuck the hips back so we create that C curve. Reach and stretch the legs out long, and we're gonna curl and roll back to the mat, imprinting each segment of the spine piece by piece. We drop the ribs, pull the abdominals in as the arms go back overhead, and then inhale, arms glide forward. We fold at the mid-ribs as we lift, and fold and curl on that exhale, drawing the abdominals in. We're creating that C curve, reaching the arms long, trying not to shrug the shoulders, and exhale to curl. Sliding the shoulders down, rolling along the spine piece by piece, stretching and lengthening the legs out, reaching the arms up long overhead. And we fold and curl. And you guys can also modify and scale back the range of motion. So if you feel your hip flexors take over, your legs pop up, you could roll back a quarter, halfway. Find that movement, that range that works best for your body while you maintain that alignment and that symmetry throughout the torso. Exaggerate the draw of the abdominals in as you glide those shoulders down. And one more. Folding and curling, rolling and stretching forward. Nice big stretch. We're going to breathe into this rounded back stretch as you lengthen the legs away from you for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Slow to restack the spine, sitting up nice and tall. We'll bend the knees, place the feet flat to the mat, and we'll curl and roll back into our supine position. Arms come nice and long down by your side. We're going to move into our pelvic curl. Walk the heels back towards the sit bones. So you have a nice little gap between each knee. You could add a pillow, a rolled up towel, or a block between the knees, something to squeeze against if you need to engage inner thigh more. And on the exhale, we're going to curl and articulate back, peel up from the tailbone, curling up into that bridge. Take a breath and exhale. Moving along the mid-back, along the rib cage, curl and roll down, rolling along the spine piece by piece, all the way through. Exhale, tilt. Imprint as you draw the abdominals in, anchoring to the bottom half of the shoulder blade, and exhale to curl down. Finding that movement along the spine. Nice and slow. Trying not to overarch the back. We want to keep that extension in the hip as we open through the front of the pelvis. Really knit the rib cage in as you bridge, especially at the top. and curling down along the spine. One more. We'll bring our knees to tabletop position, hug through inner thigh. We'll fold at the mid-ribs to lift the head, neck, and chest. Moving into that single leg stretch, the right leg reaches out as the hands stay on that left knee. And we switch, and we're going to maintain that tabletop position for the bent leg. We won't pull the knee in past 90 as best we can. And we're reaching that leg farther forward, out over the mat as we change from side to side. One more right, last one to the left. We come to tabletop, fold deeper at the mid-ribs. We move into double leg stretch. Inhale, arms and legs move away. And arms circle around back to tabletop. Maintaining that little gap at the small of the back. Keeping the chest up and lifted as the arms travel back overhead. And we glide forward with the legs. Now you could modify to a higher position. Smaller movement of the arms and the legs, less torque on the hip, less pressure on the low back. And we finish with 3 more. Dropping the shoulders back, resting the head and the neck. We draw our knees in towards the chest. Head looks left, left ear towards your mat as you anchor that right shoulder. And we twist and look right. Right ear over that right shoulder as the left shoulder pushes down. Coming back to center. And we'll rest the feet back to the mat, knees bent. Fingers interlace, bringing our hands behind the head. We're going to slide those shoulders down as we lengthen the neck. Collarbone is spreading wide, and on that exhale, we fold along the mid-ribs to lift the head, neck, and chest, keeping that little gap at the small of the back, and slow to reset. Drawing the rib cage in, pulling navel to spine, and exhale, nice deep fold at the mid-ribs. Keeping that even weight from hip to hip, pocket to pocket. Trying not to press or pull the head forward, allowing the head, the neck to rest comfortably back in your hands and your arms. And drawing the core in tight as you reset. On our next chest lift, we'll hold that position so we can transfer into that rotation. Brace for a moment as you lengthen the neck and open the chest. And exhale to rotate over onto that right shoulder blade. And inhale through to center. Exhale, twist, left. Maintaining that symmetrical spacing between the hips and the ribs from side to side. We're rotating and twisting. Keeping that nice deep flexion as we fold along the mid-ribs. tracking to see which side you have more mobility on. So the other side that may feel a bit restricted, you can push into that rotation just a little farther for these last 2 to each side. Last one to the left. Coming to center and slow for that reset. Back to the mat. We'll keep our fingers interlaced behind our head, letting our head rest into our hands. You could reset arms long to your side or out to your T if this position's uncomfortable. We'll bring our legs to tabletop. Knitting the ribs in. We're gonna rotate through the mid-ribs once again for spine twist supine. Inhale, legs tip to the right, onto that right hip, staying anchored to the left shoulder. And exhale back to center. With the hands behind our head as we alternate from side to side, it's a smaller movement. We're bracing through the abdominals. We're finding that rotation along the mid-ribs as we anchor firmly to the bottom half of our shoulder blade. And again, track. Your legs are pretty much in your line of sight. So look to see which side is moving farther, which side needs to stretch and push a little further. Try to back off a hair on that easier side and push more into that restriction to the other. Trying not to arch the back, we knit the ribs together as we draw the abdominals deep to the spine, and we twist. We'll go one more right. Last one to the left. And we'll come back to center. Folding at the mid-ribs, we lift the head, neck, and chest, supporting the head again with our hands. We're moving into crisscross. Right leg reaches forward as the upper body rotates left. And reset to center. Nice and smooth and slow. Left leg extends. We twist the upper body right. Transitioning smoothly from side to side. Keeping that weight on the pocket. Looking for those imbalances that we can clean up. And one more right. Coming to center. Draw the knees towards the chest. We curl back. Resetting the upper back to the mat. Bringing the arms out to a goalpost position with elbows bent. Forearms are trying to rotate back to the floor. So we're working that external rotation of the arm at the shoulder. So you could start with a vertical forearm with the knees tucked in so you get that nice stretch through the back. You got as much of your spine connected to the floor as you can. And then upper arm rotates in the shoulder as the forearm drops back. And we stretch through the front of the shoulder, pec, and chest. You can floss that movement. One more. And we'll wrap our arms around the front of our shins, hug the legs in a little deeper. And we'll fold and lift at the mid-ribs, coming into that chest lift, returning the legs to tabletop, and the legs will stretch up towards the ceiling. Moving into our hamstring pull, grab the back of that right calf as the left leg lowers. Lengthen the legs and we pulse for 1, 2, and switch. Using that bicep curl to draw that top leg closer to you. Reaching the legs out straighter and longer. Two more each side. And we'll come to the top, knees to tabletop, reset the head and the shoulders, back to the mat. Arms come out to a T, palms up towards the ceiling, and we're going to take the legs to the right, anchoring that left shoulder. Reach the legs forward, straightening out, draw the knees back. Sweep across to center, over to the left with the legs and the hips, anchoring that right shoulder blade and legs straighten forward and out on that diagonal. And draw back. Sweeping to center, twisting along the mid-ribs over to the right. We lengthen the legs forward and draw back. Inhale to twist and reach. Squeezing through inner thighs. Two more each side. Trying not to arch the back, we connect to the mat. Drawing the ribs in, knitting the abdominals into your center line. Last one each side. And we'll pause at tabletop. Arms come up overhead, palms up towards the ceiling, and on the exhale, we fold the mid-ribs to lift head, neck, and chest. And inhale to reset. Reaching those arms out straight and long, finding that deep fold along the mid-ribs. And adding double leg extensions to those chest lifts. Reaching longer with the arms, straighter with the legs as we fold deep across the mid-ribs. Last two. And we'll draw the knees in, curl back, rest the head and the neck, look out over that right shoulder. Stretch and twist the head and the neck left. One more each side. And we'll fold, grab the back of the thighs with a little momentum. We roll forward, pop up into teaser, prep, flat back, proud chest with legs floating to tabletop. We are hinged back on that nice diagonal, extending through the spine. Hands come off the legs and we hold for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Coming forward, dropping the feet, the legs into our butterfly stretch. We round the spine, drawing the forehead towards the feet and the toes. Trying not to shrug, we want to drop the shoulders down and back, let the head hang to feel that stretch. And on the next exhale, we restack. Sitting longer, stretching taller towards the ceiling. And we hinge, flat back, proud chest, forward towards the feet. And sitting up nice and tall. Resetting those legs with knees bent. Arms come to the front and we curl and roll back. Resetting the spine back to our mat. Arms are nice and long down by our side. And we'll bring our legs to tabletop. Bring the feet into our frog position. Knees out, toes and feet are turned out. And on the inhale, legs reach forward, drawing through inner thigh. And exhale to draw back. Without the chest lift, I'm aiming slightly higher towards the ceiling to keep that pressure off the front of the hips and out of the low back. Maintaining that nice little gap at the small of the back. Straightening the legs longer than before. Just when I think those legs are straight, the knees extended, I push into that position further. Firing those muscles up the leg to create that length. One more. Reset the shoulders, reset the arms, square the legs off to tabletop, legs reach up towards the ceiling, and legs come down the center about halfway. Rotate the thigh and the hip, circle out and back up to the top, coming down halfway, reaching out, straighter and longer, stretching long out of the hip. One more. And knees draw in. Reach for the toes. Draw the knees apart. Let the collarbone spread wide. And we rock from hip to hip. One more each side. And we'll reset back to tabletop, realign the spine, arms are reaching long, and we extend the legs up and forward. Rotate the thigh and the hip, and we're going to open out. Flex at the ankle, draw the heels back together, and we point the toes to glide the legs out to the side. That even weight from pocket to pocket, transitioning the ankle from plantar flexion back to dorsiflexion as we draw the legs away from our center line and draw back through inner thigh to center. Last two. And we'll bend the knees, stretch that left leg out long across the mat. Hug that right knee in towards the chest as you slide the shoulders down. Collarbone spreads wide, ribs knit in. And fingers interlace behind the head. fold and lift. The head, neck, and chest. Extend that right leg up towards the ceiling, and the right leg crosses your center line, circling down, out, and back up. Working these counterclockwise circles, nice and smooth, anchoring the tip of the shoulder blade and the hips to the mat as the leg circles. And we'll bend that right knee, extend the right leg out long to the mat. Left knee comes to tabletop. We hug the thigh to the chest, drop the shoulders, the head to your mat, and we'll stretch. Focusing on that breath as the ribs knit in. And fingers interlace. Fold along the midribs to lift the head, neck, and chest. Leg extends up, that left leg towards the ceiling, and we go across to the right, circling out, back up and around. Anchor that right hip as the left leg circles out. Pressing that right leg out nice and long. Minimal translation through the torso as the leg moves. Last two. And we'll stretch the legs nice and long, reaching forward. We're going to work a little bit harder roll up. Now you can go back to any of our modified positions with straight arms out, one or both knee bent. But I'm going to work a harder position, a bit more advanced for more of a neck pull. Fingers are interlaced behind the head, and on the inhale, we fold at the midribs to lift the head, neck, and chest, and then exhale to curl and roll up. But I'm not pulling on my head or craning the neck forward, rounding and reaching forward over the thighs. There's light pressure here with the hands and the fingertips. This is just to make the movement more challenging. Curling and rolling back, stretching the legs nice and long. We're articulating down piece by piece, vertebra by vertebra, resetting the head, and inhale to lift. Fold at the midribs, exhale to curl. Trying not to pull on the head as you roll and round up off of your mat. Curling forward, feeling that stretch along the spine, and resetting back to the mat. Exhale to articulate. Sliding those shoulders down. Lengthening the neck, stretching across the collarbone. Last one, we inhale to fold deep. And exhale to curl. Rounding and rolling forward. Hands come overhead, reach for the toes, flex at the ankles. And we'll stretch. I'm going to walk out so I'm more on my sit bones, less of that tuck of the hips under so I can stretch along the back of the leg. One more breath. And then we'll curl and restack. We're going to separate our feet and our legs about mat width apart. And sit up nice and tall, up out of the sit bones for our forward reach. Now, if you need to take some of the articulation out, you can work a flat back hinge. Otherwise, arms are reaching forward. We pull chin to chest as we scoop and draw up from the hips, up under the ribs. And we reach forward, grab the toes, grab the feet or the legs and we stretch forward. Press the legs down as they lengthen away from you. And exhale, curl and restack. Sitting up nice and tall, nice and long. Arms open out to a T position, palms up. And we twist through the mid-ribs to the right and we pulse for 1, 2. Come through to center. Sit taller, sit longer. Twist through the mid-ribs for 1, 2. And arms come forward, chin to chest. Forward fold as we reach and roll. Reaching for the legs or the feet as we draw our torso forward, stretching longer. Legs are always reaching away. And next exhale, curl up. And restack, sitting longer. Palms up as the arms go out to that T and we twist through the mid-ribs for 1, 2. Moving through to center, over to the left with arms pulled out wide for that double pulse. And forward, chin to chest, forward roll. As if you're curling the spine down piece by piece off the wall behind you. And we're stretching forward towards the feet, lengthening the legs. And exhale, restack. Stretching longer, sitting taller, arms open out to our T, palms up, and we rotate right for 2 pulses to the left, double pulse, and we come back to center. Hands or palms are forward. We rotate right, and right arm rotates back behind us as the left arm comes across to the outside of the right foot for that diagonal stretch. We extend the spine, sitting taller, stretching longer, and we unwind, rotating to the left. Back left arm rotates back, right arm crosses the center line, reaching towards the outside of that left foot, and then we extend, anchoring that right hip, and we unwind. 1 more each side. Feel that even weight from hip to hip. Try not to unweight that left side, and extend. Sitting tall, we unwind. Last one. Weight the right side as you reach for that left foot and extend. Arms come to the front and we fold and curl. 1 last forward reach, grabbing the legs or the feet and drawing yourself forward into that stretch. Shoulders are sliding back and down as the ribs knit in. And we curl up and we restack. We're going to bring our legs to the center line. We're going to cross the right foot, the right leg over the left by the thigh, stretching that left leg out nice and long. We're going to sit nice and tall. Wrapping that left arm around the right knee and thigh, and we twist through the mid-ribs to look back over that right shoulder. Sitting longer, sitting taller as we stretch towards the ceiling. Feel that string pulling through the crown of the head to stretch you right up out of the tailbone as long as you can. And slow to unwind. We'll rotate back the other way. Right arm wraps around that right leg and we twist back. Looking back over that left shoulder. Lengthen and extend. Nice proud chest, flat back. And reset. Right leg reaches forward, out nice and long. Cross that left leg over the right. Right hand wraps around that left leg, left knee, and we twist back. Feeling that stretch deep in that left hip. Extending and stretching the spine towards the ceiling, growing taller and longer with each breath. And we'll twist to the right. Left arm across that left knee. Sit tall, sit long, and rotate back. Unwinding, coming through to center. We're going to come into our lunge stretch. So you could do this standing or kneeling. We'll bring our right foot up and forward, left knee down or back left leg is straight. You could go to a straight leg here as if this running start stance. You find the position that works best for you. You could be in a more tall kneeling position or hands to the floor, and we press the hips forward and down. Still drawing the abdominals in to protect the low back and to also keep us from just hanging off those tendons and ligaments at the front of the hip. So we're working that stretch up the front of the thigh. One more breath. And then we'll switch. Right leg comes back. Left foot, left leg comes forward. And we stretch. Find the position that works best for you, either standing, kneeling. Back leg can be bent or straight. One more breath. And then we're going to walk that left foot across to the right for our pigeon stretch. Laying the leg down. And we're going to shift from side to side. Feeling that stretch deep in that left hip. We slide that left leg back. Let's go to a rest position, sitting back towards the heels with the arms reaching long up overhead. And exhale, tuck and curl. Rolling forward, right foot steps forward. Walks across to the left side of your mat, and we lay that right leg down. And we rock from side to side. One more breath. And then we'll slide that right knee back. Let's go knees apart, feet together. We sit back towards the heels, stretching long overhead. And exhale, tuck and curl. Rounding the spine, restacking up tall over the hips, arms reach up overhead, fingers interlace, stretch up and over to the right. Back to center, stretch up and over to the left. Stretching up out of the waist from the top of the hips. One more each side. And arms rest down by your side. All right, guys. Awesome work today. Nice job.